Welcome back to the Context Window. I'm Noah.
And I'm Millie. It's really good to be with you again. In our last conversation, we talked about the world around us, the constant noise, the speed, the feeling of being surrounded by too much all the time. That sense that modern life can feel like a current moving faster than we can comfortably swim.
Exactly. We were looking outward. And today, we want to bring that conversation inward and ask something a little more personal. What does living in that kind of world actually do to us? How does all that external speed slowly become pressure on the inside? Or even when you're watching a show, there's this impulse to check your phone at the same time. Like being still with just one thing feels inefficient somehow.
This is episode 2, When the World Won't Slow Down, Pressure, Performance, and the Split Self.
So let's start there, Millie. Maybe the best place to start is with that pressure, because for most of us, it isn't dramatic or obvious. It's subtle. It's that low-level hum of urgency, the feeling that you should be doing something useful even when there's nothing specific you need to do.
Absolutely. I notice it in really ordinary moments. Sitting on the couch in the evening, finally done for the day, and still feeling like I haven't done enough. Like rest itself needs an explanation.
Yes, I know that feeling. For me, it often shows up on Sundays. There's nothing urgent happening, but my body feels tense anyway, like it's already leaning into Monday before Sunday is even finished. I'll catch myself mentally planning the week ahead, even when I've promised myself that Sunday is supposed to be a pause.
And what's striking is how normal that feels. We rarely stop and ask, is this how life is supposed to feel? We just assume it's us.
Exactly. We personalize something that's actually shared.
And because it's shared, it often goes unnamed. Everyone around you seems to be moving at the same pace, so the pressure starts to feel invisible. I see it in mornings, too. Before the day has really begun, there's already this sense of being behind. The to-do list exists before the day does.
Even before you've had a chance to check in with yourself, you're already measuring how productive you're about to be. And when something feels that constant, we stop questioning it. It becomes background noise.
And that pressure isn't random. It's something baked into how we live. We're surrounded by messages that tell us speed is good, stillness is wasteful, and every spare moment should be put to use. Even rest is often framed as preparation. Rest so you can work better, recover so you can produce more.
We're encouraged to optimize downtime, monetize hobbies, stay ahead. And slowly, that way of living starts to feel normal, even when it's draining us.
And it doesn't stay contained to work. It seeps into everything: parenting, relationships, social life. The pressure to be present, supportive, responsive all the time. To reply quickly, to show up energetically, to always seem emotionally available, even when you're running on empty.
What makes it tricky is that from the outside, things can look fine. You're showing up, you're functioning, you're doing what's expected. You might even be doing well by external standards, promotions, praise, milestones.
Which makes it even harder to admit how tired you are. Because there's no obvious crisis, no single thing to point to.
Well, I guess it's a tiredness without a clear story.
And without a story, it's easy to dismiss it, to tell yourself you shouldn't feel this way. And those are the hardest ones to name, even to ourselves.
This is where people often turn inward and blame themselves. I'm just anxious. I need better discipline. I should be able to handle this. Especially when everyone else around you seems to be managing, or at least appearing to.
But what we're really pointing to is something broader, a world that quietly links human value to output.
When that belief gets taken inside, identity starts to get tied up with productivity. So slowing down doesn't just feel uncomfortable, it can feel risky.
Almost like you're disappearing a little when you're not producing. Like if you're not useful, responsive, or impressive, you're somehow less visible, even to yourself.
And that's when guilt shows up.
Yes, guilt around rest. Taking a break can feel like something you have to earn. Or something you justify. I'll rest after I finish this one more thing.
And even when you do try to rest, part of your mind is still watching, evaluating, asking, am I doing this right?
I'm noticing as we talk about this how deeply ingrained that is. Even rest has rules.
Rules that no one explicitly taught us, but we somehow learned anyway. Leisure becomes another performance. And the exhaustion doesn't just come from doing too much, it comes from never really being off.
And underneath all of this, something deeper starts to happen. This pressure doesn't just exhaust us, it divides us.
Tell me more about that.
There's the version of us we present to the world, capable, responsive, holding it together. The one that replies, performs, keeps up.
Okay, so the visible self.
Yes, and then there's the private self, the one that's tired or unsure or overwhelmed, the one that doesn't always feel okay. The self that might feel confused, unmotivated, or quietly sad, but rarely gets airtime.
True, and for a lot of people, there's a wide gap between those two experiences.
Holding that gap isn't neutral. It takes effort.
It most usually shows up in the body. Tight shoulders, shallow breaths, irritability, or that strange sense of being present everywhere except inside your own life. Sometimes it shows up as numbness, like you're functioning but not really feeling much.
There's loneliness in that too, because the more you perform, the harder it becomes to feel seen.
And sometimes even harder to recognize yourself.
Ooh, that lands uncomfortably, but it's true.
And when people hear this, the instinct is often to fix it, to ask, okay, so how do I stop feeling this way?
Of course, that's the same pressure showing up again, trying to solve its own exhaustion.
We're not offering fixes here. What we're offering instead is a small shift in how we relate to this experience.
Definitely, a shift away from fixing and towards noticing.
That's not easy, especially when we've been trained to act instead of pause. Because when you do pause, what you notice isn't always calm or relief.
Yeah, sometimes it's restlessness or discomfort or even fear.
Which is often why we stay busy.
Exactly! Not because we're bad at resting, but because we're afraid of what might surface when we stop. Stillness can feel unfamiliar when your nervous system has adapted to constant movement.
All right, let's just paint a picture here. Noticing might simply look like this. You pause, that familiar pressure appears, and instead of pushing it away, you name it. This is what pressure feels like in my body.
Oh, so you're not trying to change it, you're just creating a little space around it?
Yes, even a little space can soften things.
Well, that has been a very profound discussion. So as we come to a close today, what we've really been naming is recognition. Recognizing that the world's demand for speed and performance doesn't stay outside us. It becomes something we carry. And recognizing the quiet exhaustion that comes from constantly managing the gap between how we feel and how we think we should appear.
Living that way can be isolating, and that's where we'll go next, exploring the loneliness and emotional weight that can follow when so much of life becomes performance. Especially when so much of that struggle stays invisible to the people around us.
Until then, thank you for listening to The Context Window. See you next episode.